Coming up on the program. But first, the feds at long last weigh in on the circumstances that led to the deaths of two Toledo firefighters in an apartment blaze early last year. Steve Mashinsky and Jamie Dickman died in the January 2014 fire. The Federal Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, NIOSH, you'll hear it referred to on this program, issued the report this week. Not to find fault, they insist, but to identify circumstances that collectively led to the tragedy and to suggest ways to address those circumstances so future tragedies might be avoided. Our Michelle Zepeda has been digging into this story for months. She broke our stories this week on the NIOSH report. One of the thorniest issues addressed by the report, that of a safety officer, someone on scene trained to advise firefighters on the safest way to do a very dangerous job. That issue unveiled a rift between Toledo's firefighters union and the city fire administration. Here is Michelle Zepeda.
So we have the officer from Engine 3. We're still missing the two other firefighters.
January 26th, the first radio transmission goes out about Steve and Jamie being unaccounted for in that blaze. So who is keeping crews safe and alive? That's the job of a safety officer, according to the National Fire Protection Association. NIOSH recommending to the Toledo Fire Department that a full-time safety officer is needed for a department of our size. The report reads, a metropolitan-sized fire department should consider one or more full-time dedicated safety officers who are on duty and can routinely respond to working fires.
Structure fire, 528 Magnolia Street near Eagle Lane.
According to NIOSH, TFD did not have a full-time safety officer at the scene of the fire from the start. A firefighter was assigned to be a safety officer and arrived on scene at 2:59. Just 4 minutes later, at 3:03, the first Mayday call was broadcast. The NIOSH report points out that since the safety officer was late to arriving on the scene of this fire, he was limited in his ability to assess the scene. TFD once had a full-time safety officer, but Lieutenant Hertzfeld tells me the position was changed to one safety officer working a staffed position, as well as training all the department's officers to act as safety officers. The department says it was a move to enhance the safety of firefighters. Local 92 disagreed. In this letter we obtained from 2013, the union asked Fire Chief Luis Santiago to return dedicated safety officers to the staff around the clock. Local 92 concerned for their union members' safety. And according to this document, it was also discussed at a safety committee meeting, and members of the committee determined the position should be returned. The chief does have the managerial right to change these positions within his department. Just 1 month after Steve and Jamie were killed, this vacancy notice was posted to fill the position of a safety officer. TFD tells me months later, 3 officers were appointed and assigned to work around the clock and report to fires as safety officers. The department spokesperson cannot say if this was or was not related to that fatal fire because of a gag order.
Again, Michelle Zepeda reporting, and now joining me at the leading edge table. Great coverage, if I say so, to my colleague here on this report that she has been digging into for a long amount of time. The rank and file firefighters, Michelle, did they welcome this report? Were they apprehensive about this report? I mean, it was obviously going to take them back to some dark days. Before they got their hands on it, what was the feeling?
From what I'm hearing, they just wanted answers. Up until this point, 15 months, they didn't know what went wrong at the fire, what happened, and they just wanted some answers. So this gave them a little bit of clarity. They saw it when everyone else saw it when it was published, right on the website.
Professional firefighters have to know, though, I think, when things go right or things go wrong. We have 2 dead firefighters, and it still hurts to think about those families and those lost firefighters. These guys had to know, did they not, that something went wrong in all of this?
Yeah, I think that they knew that something went wrong. They didn't know what. And this really outlined everything, it's not placing blame. This report does not place blame on the department.
Okay, go ahead. You want...
Yeah, it doesn't place blame on the department, but it basically tells the department things that they need to change, recommendations.
All right, and you led me right to where I want to go, because the report itself says it's not seeking to lay blame, but it does raise questions of staffing. Where was the safety officer? Training. How many first-year firefighters at that scene? Don't we have to ask if those had been addressed, could this have been avoided?
I mean, those are absolutely questions that you need to ask, and, you know, the report does lay them out there so the fire department can take a look and, you know, realize things that they may need to change.
The issue of the safety officer, the great reporting this week, you uncovered the fact that that has been an ongoing rift, that the union has been on the record saying we need to have that position filled in full time, and the administration was less than forthcoming in doing so.
Well, what I found out is when Chief Santiago took over, he changed the way the safety officer position was, and instead of having it 3 full-time safety officers, he trained all of the officers on the department.
Okay, I want to go with that because that's been reported. At first it's like, how can you be without this safety officer? But if the chief's contention is, well, hey, wait, we're training all fire officers. That's not all firefighters, it's fire officers, right?
Correct,
to be safety officers, I can kind of follow the logic. We're going to end up with more safety officers.
Right.
Did they do this training?
They did the training. It was, I guess it was an in-house training, and there was a safety officer on the scene of the fire that day. That safety officer arrived late, just a couple minutes before that Mayday call, so he couldn't keep the scene safe for the firefighters.
What do the firefighters want to see come out of this report from NIOSH?
I mean, I think they want to probably see changes from the department. You know, these are some issues that they've seen that have been problems for a while. The probationary officers, too many on one shift, and then also the safety officer issue, and they just want to get some of these things cleaned up.
Again, congratulations. It's tough stuff. It's heavy stuff because of the subject matter, but your reporting has, I just sit back in admiration of what you've been doing and covering this story. So thanks for spending time here. We're keeping her away right now from doing a story she should be working on, so get out of here. Well, in a moment. Up next, you may think of